I've been sitting on this for a while, trying to figure out how to say it without sounding bitter or dramatic. But I'm finally in a place where I feel strong enough to share, and if it helps even one guy out there, it'll be worth it. This is the story of how I found out my wife was a compulsive liar, probably a narcissist, and how her betrayal completely wrecked me before I rebuilt myself into someone stronger. We've been married for 5 years, together for 7. I'm 35 now. No kids, just a mortgage, 2 cars, and a shared friend group that I now realize was more hers than mine. When we met, she was charming, smart, funny. She knew how to make me feel like the center of her universe when she wanted to. But even back then, there were small things I should have paid attention to. Like how she always had a story for why she wasn't speaking to one of her old friends, or why every ex she ever had was crazy or controlling, or how she used to joke that lying is sometimes necessary if it protects someone's feelings. I used to laugh along, thinking it was just a defense mechanism. In hindsight, I think that was her version of honesty. Things started to shift during our 3rd year of marriage. Nothing huge at first, just little things. She'd get defensive if I asked where she was going, even if I was just making small talk. She changed her phone password. Said she was working late more often, but couldn't explain what the extra hours were for. And she picked fights constantly about the dishes, the thermostat, the fact that I breathed weird while I watched TV. I chalked it up to stress. I tried harder, did more around the house, planned date nights, told myself all marriages go through rough patches. But there was something cold in her eyes when we argued that started to scare me. Like she wasn't mad, she was calculating. Watching how I reacted, testing limits. I didn't realize at the time, but this was just the beginning. I wouldn't have found out anything if she hadn't forgotten to log out of her iCloud on our shared iPad. That's the funny part. All this talk about privacy and respecting each other's space, and yet she's the one who slipped up. It was a Thursday night. I was on the couch half watching Netflix and trying to order takeout on the iPad. I clicked the Messages app by accident. And there it was. A full conversation with a guy saved under the name Sarah Cherry Blossom. The moment I opened it, I knew. The kind of messages you don't send to your sister, your coworker, or your friend. Stuff like, I wish I could wake up next to you again. He was so clueless last night, LOL. I felt my whole body go cold. My ears rang. You know that feeling when your adrenaline hits so hard, you don't even feel your hands anymore? That was me. I sat there just reading, scrolling, my heart pounding. She'd been seeing this guy, no, sleeping with this guy for at least 2 months. Meeting up while working late. Complaining about me. Making fun of me. Even coaching him on how to avoid getting caught. There was one message that I still remember the wording. He's too soft to ever leave. I can do whatever I want. That broke something in me. Not because she was cheating, but because she had zero respect for me. Because I'd been breaking my back trying to fix a marriage that she was actively torching behind my back. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't say anything. I just sat there staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell I got here. The next morning, I made coffee like usual. She came into the kitchen in her robe, scrolling her phone, acting like she hadn't just stabbed me in the back emotionally. I watched her pour almond milk into her mug and talk about some random office drama, like we were still a team. Like we were still us. I was quiet. Too quiet, probably. She picked up on it. You okay? She asked. You seem off. I nodded. Just tired. And that was the truth. I was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of giving the benefit of the doubt. Tired of telling myself that the gaslighting, the mood swings, the distance, was all temporary. That she'd eventually come back to me emotionally if I just held on a little longer. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving for work. I watched her get in her car. Same car I helped her pick out. Same insurance I pay for. She smiled at me as she drove away. 10 minutes later, I walked back to the iPad. I took screenshots of everything, every text, every photo, every time she mocked me. I airdropped them to my phone. I backed it up on a USB, too. I wasn't thinking revenge. I was thinking clarity. I needed evidence, so I couldn't talk myself out of it later. By noon, I had canceled our joint dinner plans that night. She didn't ask why, just said, cool, I'll grab drinks with coworkers, then winking face. Except I knew it wasn't her coworkers. It was him. James. She said his name twice in the texts. A personal trainer, apparently. Funny, she used to make fun of meathead guys. Guess we're only meatheads, when we're not stroking her ego. I didn't text her again that day. I sat with my thoughts, went for a long walk, listened to music that used to make me feel something. I knew I was going to confront her. I just didn't know how bad it would get. She got home a little after 11 p.m., hair tousled, smelling like a mix of perfume and someone else's cologne. Lipstick smudged, not enough to be obvious, just enough for someone who's looking to notice. I was looking. She didn't expect me to be awake. "Oh, hey babe," she said casually, tossing her keys on the counter like she didn't just spend the night with another man. I didn't play games. "Who's James?" She froze. Just for a second. But I caught it. That split-second pause before the mask went back on. "Who?" she asked, with this fake little laugh. "I don't know what you're talking about." I pulled out my phone and opened the screenshots. Don't lie. I've seen everything. That's when the switch flipped. First came denial. Then outrage. Then full-on gaslight mode. "You went through my private messages. That's abusive. You're insane." No apology. No explanation. Just flipping it on me like I was the villain in this story. "You said he was just a friend," I said. "But you've been sleeping with him for months. You told him I'd never leave you. That I was too soft." She scoffed. "So what? You're going to throw our marriage away because I made a mistake? You've been emotionally unavailable for months." There it was. The justification. "I've been trying," I said, and my voice cracked. "I've been trying to hold this thing together while you were out laughing at me behind my back." She rolled her eyes. Rolled her F*** ing eyes. Asterisk, "You're being dramatic," she said. "You always do this. You spiral. Maybe if you'd been more confident, I wouldn't have looked elsewhere." That was the moment something inside me snapped, not in anger, but in clarity. I realized I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I'd been played, lied to, blamed, manipulated, and I finally saw it for what it was. "I want you to leave," I said. She blinked, caught off guard. "Excuse me. I want you out. Tonight." She scoffed again. "You're not serious." But I was. And she knew it. So I told her to leave. And for a second, she looked like she might actually do it. She picked up her purse, walked toward the hallway, and then stopped. She turned around, arms crossed, and gave me this look. The same one she used to give me when I'd forget to take the trash out. Pure condescension. "You know what?" she said. "No. I'm not leaving. This is my house too." Technically, yes. Her name was on the mortgage. But that wasn't the point. She started going off about how I was being irrational and emotional, and that we should talk about this like adults in the morning. I told her there was nothing to talk about. She cheated, lied, humiliated me. That was the whole conversation. But she wasn't done. Oh no. She switched tactics and went full soap opera. Started crying. Real tears this time, or at least very convincing ones. She said she didn't want to throw away everything we built. That he didn't mean anything. That it was a phase, a mistake, and that I was the only man who's ever really loved her. I sat on the couch while she cried on the floor like she was the one who got betrayed. I couldn't even bring myself to comfort her. I felt nothing. Like a light had switched off. Then came the kicker. "I'll go to therapy," she said. "We can go together. I'll block him. Please just don't give up on us." I didn't answer right away. I just sat there, stunned by the audacity. This was the same woman who, hours earlier, was telling another man she wished she could wake up next to him. Now she wanted to play the redemption arc. That night, we slept in separate rooms. I didn't trust her in the same bed. She kept texting me from across the house like some high school breakup. "Please let me fix this. I love you. I can't lose you." I stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. Somewhere in that long, dark silence, I knew exactly what I had to do. The next morning, I got up early, earlier than I've gotten up in years, no alarm. I was running on something deeper than caffeine. Rage? Maybe. But more like resolve. I didn't talk to her. Didn't make coffee for 2. Didn't ask if she slept well. I showered, got dressed, grabbed my laptop, and started making a list. Not a dramatic, burn her life down kind of list, just a practical one. Lawyer, separate bank account, credit card in my name, only pull my credit report, talk to HR about pay stubs and benefits, look into temporary housing options. It felt mechanical at first, but every item I crossed off gave me back a little more of my spine. She noticed the shift right away. I was calm, focused, detached. And that scared her more than anything I'd said the night before. "Are you really doing this?" she asked, standing in the doorway while I packed a duffel bag. I didn't answer. You're not even going to try? Try? I turned to her and said, I did try. For months. You were out playing house with your gym boyfriend while I was over here thinking I was failing as a husband. I begged for your attention while you were handing it out like candy. She got quiet. And when she gets quiet, it's never because she feels bad. It's because she's recalculating. Then came a new tactic. I'll tell people you were abusive, she said, just like that. Flat. Cold. That hit me harder than the cheating, because I knew it wouldn't be hard for her to pull off. I'm a big guy, ex-football built. She's petite. If she cried, people would believe her. But I didn't flinch. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, then you better make it count. Because once you go that route, I promise I won't play nice anymore. She backed off. For now. That afternoon, I moved into a friend's spare room and filed for separation. She texted me 37 times that weekend, half begging, half threatening. I didn't answer a single one. By Monday, the text messages had shifted from pleading to PR control. Just so you know, people are going to ask why you left. I won't tell them unless you do. We don't need to destroy each other. Let's just say we grew apart. She wanted to control the story, but I was done protecting her image. I didn't blast her on social media or anything. I'm not a 19-year-old TikToker airing dirty laundry for clout. But I did stop lying for her. When mutual friends asked why I suddenly left our house and moved into Mike's spare bedroom, I told the truth. She cheated. She lied. Repeatedly. I found proof. I'm not interested in keeping up appearances. Simple. Direct. No rage. Just facts. And you know what happened? Her whole little web started to unravel. Turns out I wasn't the first guy she'd done this to. A friend of hers reached out, someone I barely knew, and said, I always had a weird feeling about her. She used to vent about you, but it sounded off, like she was creating a villain to justify something. Then her sister messaged me. Just so you know, I'm really sorry for everything. I didn't know the details, but I always felt like she used your kindness against you. You didn't deserve that. Her own sister. That hit hard. Not because I wanted sympathy, but because it confirmed what I already feared. The woman I married had been wearing a mask, even around the people closest to her. She tried to salvage her reputation by putting out feelers through friends. He was emotionally distant. I felt neglected. He was controlling with money. But people knew me. I'm not perfect, but I'm consistent. I don't lie. I show up. I'm boringly reliable. If anything, I was too forgiving. The more she tried to twist the story, the more people started putting two and two together. Her charm turned brittle. Her sweet girl act started cracking in real time. And meanwhile, I was getting stronger. Not because I wasn't hurting, I was, but because I had clarity. And clarity is a superpower when you've been drowning in confusion for months. I didn't think I'd ever actually meet the guy. James. The gym friend. The dude she barely talked to. The one she said meant nothing. Yeah, him. But 2 weeks after I moved out, I got a message on Facebook from a name I didn't recognize at first. No profile picture, no mutual friends. Just, you don't know me, but we need to talk about wife's name. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Then I opened the profile. Nothing but a blank page and the name James S. I figured, screw it. I gave him my Google Voice number and said, you've got 5 minutes. He called. I answered. And what came out of the phone was not at all what I expected. Hey, man. Look, I didn't know you were still together. No intro. No apology. Just immediately trying to cover his own ass. I mean, she told me you were, like, living separate lives. That you guys were basically roommates. Right. Roommates with a marriage license, joint taxes, and a mortgage. He kept talking. Fast. Nervous. He said he met her at the gym. Said she came on to him. Said she told him I was emotionally abusive and cold. That she was scared to leave, but didn't have anywhere else to go. Classic predator victim script. She made it sound like you were this controlling husband, he said. But then I saw her phone blowing up with texts from you while she was with me, and she'd just laugh. That hit like a brick. But I kept my voice steady. I wanted him to keep talking. Then he said, I broke it off with her last week. She started getting weird. Possessive. Like, trying to make me promise I wouldn't leave her. Saying you might do something drastic. That's when I knew. She'd moved on from manipulating me to trying to lock him in. Same game, new target. And just like me, he'd fallen for it. At the end of the call, he said, I'm not proud of it. If I'd known she was lying, I'd never have touched her. I didn't tell him it was okay. It wasn't. But I did say this. You're not the first guy she's lied to. Just don't be the next idiot who believes her when she says you're different. He hung up. That was the last I heard from James. About 3 days after the James call, she texted me out of nowhere. I saw your hoodie in the closet. Still smells like you. I miss you. It was 7:42 in the morning. No apology. No accountability. Just that manipulative, soft-focused nonsense she always pulled when she sensed me drifting out of reach. I didn't reply. So she kept going. I know I messed up. But I didn't stop loving you. You're the only one who ever truly saw me. We can still fix this. She was trying to tap into nostalgia. Emotional muscle memory. Hoping I'd remember movie nights and side jokes, the way we used to crack each other up over stupid memes. But all I could think about was that voice note she sent to James, the way she giggled while deleting my name off her calendar. Still, I'll admit it. I almost replied. Because sometimes your body misses a person even when your brain knows they're poison. Sometimes loneliness dresses up as forgiveness. But instead of texting back, I screenshotted everything and sent it to my lawyer. That's when I decided to go full no contact, blocked her number, muted her socials, told her anything she needed to say could go through email or legal channels. 2 days later, I got an email. Since you're being cold, I talked to a lawyer too. If you're going to play hardball, I can too. Let's not make this uglier than it needs to be. There it was. The mask was off again. Sweet, sobbing wife replaced by the cold, calculating version. The real her. It was like watching someone shift personalities in real time. 1 minute, she's, I miss us, and the next, she's threatening to expose things that never even happened. I felt nothing but exhaustion, and a strange kind of clarity. She didn't miss me. She missed control. She missed being able to push buttons and get a reaction. But once I stopped dancing to her tune, she panicked. Too bad. The music was off. For good. So, here's the part where you'd think things get easier. I blocked her. I moved out. I was standing my ground. I had people telling me I was doing the right thing. But the truth? It still sucked. I'd sit in that tiny spare room at my buddy Mike's place, staring at the same beige wall for hours, eating cereal out of a plastic cup, scrolling through old photos, wondering if I was the crazy one. Even after all the lies, the cheating, the threats, there was still this ache. Like I'd amputated a part of myself and was now walking around ghost-limbed. That's when I realized I needed help. Real help. Not advice from friends or internet articles. Not a rebound. Not whiskey. I needed therapy. I booked an appointment with a guy my coworker recommended. First session, I walked in like, yeah, I'm good. Just need a few pointers, you know. 35 minutes later, I'm staring at the floor, choking back tears, realizing I hadn't really felt anything in months. Maybe years. The therapist didn't say much at first. Just let me unravel. But he did say this. You've been living in survival mode. That's not strength. That's just endurance. Real strength is when you start rebuilding, even when it's slow, even when no one's watching. That line stuck with me. So I kept showing up, week after week, slowly peeling back the damage. Meanwhile, her threats got weaker. Her emails went from "you'll regret this" to "can we just talk" to silence. One day, I went back to the house to grab some boxes. She wasn't home, thank God. But sitting on the kitchen counter was a printed photo of us, one from our honeymoon, taped to a handwritten note. We were good once. I'll always love you. I'm sorry. It didn't move me. Not because I'm heartless, but because I finally saw it for what it was, theater. Sentiment with no accountability. Love without honesty is just manipulation. I took the box. Left the note. That night, I slept better than I had in 6 months. About a month after I'd moved on mentally and physically, she tried one last big move. A public one. It started with a tagged post on Instagram, a throwback photo of us smiling, captioned with something like, "Sometimes the heart sees what's invisible to the eye." Classic vague, dramatic, begging for attention stuff. I didn't respond. I didn't comment. I kept scrolling past. But then it got worse. Her friends started commenting, some sympathetic, some plainly nosy. A few of her gym buddies posted emojis like hearts and fire, as if cheering her on. Next thing I know, mutual friends text me, asking if everything's okay. I decided to nip it in the bud. I posted a short message on my own account. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable, but it's the only way to grow. Healing starts with honesty. No names. No drama. Just that. And the fallout was instant. Her followers started turning on her. People called out her public pity party and playing victim. Some shared stories they kept quiet about her lying, cheating, manipulating. I wasn't trying to stir the pot. It just spilled. Then came the craziest part. She showed up at a mutual friend's barbecue the weekend after, trying to act normal. But she looked defeated. No fake smiles, no clever lines. Just a woman caught in the corner with nowhere to hide. I didn't engage. I stayed with friends, drank my beer, and watched the real her slowly unravel. It was surreal, like watching a soap opera from the front row, except this time, I was the audience, not the victim. That night, I slept with no nightmares, no anxiety attacks. Just peace. After all the chaos, drama, and heartbreak, I realized something important. Mental strength isn't about giant heroic moments. It's the tiny, quiet stuff you do day after day when no one's watching. Here's what helped me the most. Morning runs. I hated running before. Felt like torture. But now, it became my therapy. Just me, the pavement, and my thoughts. I didn't run to escape. I ran to find myself again. Journaling. I started writing down my feelings every night. No filters, no edits. Just the raw truth. Some days it was anger, some days just numbness. But putting it on paper took the weight off my chest. Saying no to toxic people, to invitations I wasn't ready for, to anything that drained me. Setting boundaries felt selfish at first. Now it feels like self-respect. Therapy sessions. I kept going, even on the days I wanted to quit. Slowly, I stopped seeing the therapist as some stranger and more like a coach helping me get my head in the game. Small joys. I rediscovered hobbies I'd abandoned. Reading, cooking stupid pasta recipes, even binge-watching dumb comedies without guilt. It wasn't fast. It wasn't dramatic. But every small step added up. I'm not fixed. Maybe I never will be. But I'm stronger than I was. Because I stopped letting my past define me. Just when I thought I was finally comfortable being alone, out of nowhere, she showed up. No, not her, someone else. A woman named Emily. We met at a coffee shop near my new apartment. She was funny, sharp, and had this warmth that felt completely different from anything I'd known in a long time. But here's the kicker. I was scared. After everything, trusting someone again felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, blindfolded. What if history repeated itself? What if I let my guard down, only to get stabbed in the back again? Emily wasn't pushy. She never asked about my past or pressured me to move fast. She just listened, laughed, and let me take things at my pace. Slowly, I started opening up. Not just about my ex, but about my fears, my hopes, even my weird obsession with midnight snacks. The best part? She didn't freak out when I talked about therapy or my struggles with anxiety. She said, "That's real strength. You're doing the work." For the first time in forever, I felt seen, not as a project or a broken thing, but as a guy who's trying. Just when I was starting to feel like maybe this new chapter could be real, the past came crashing back in. Out of nowhere, I got a text from my wife's sister. Yeah, the one I barely spoke to before. She said, "You need to know something before you get too far with Emily." My stomach dropped. She spilled a bunch of stuff I hadn't heard before, that my ex was spreading lies about me, painting me as unstable and dangerous to anyone who'd listen. Even tried to turn Emily against me with some twisted stories. It was like she wanted to burn every bridge I was building. I confronted my ex about it. She just laughed and said, "You think you've won? This is just the beginning." That line hit me hard. For a moment, old doubts crept back in. But then I realized something. I'm not the man I was before. I've got therapy, friends, and yes, Emily. I'm stronger now. I told her, "Keep lying. Keep trying to drag me down. It won't work." And I meant it. So here I am, almost a year later, typing this out with a clearer head and a quieter heart. If you've made it this far in my story, maybe you're in the middle of your own hell. Maybe you're asking yourself, how the hell do I get mentally strong when the one you trusted the most just ripped your world apart? Here's what I've learned. Mental strength isn't about never breaking. It's about getting up after you fall, sometimes 100 times. It's messy, it's painful, and it's not linear. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore red flags hoping things will magically fix themselves. Surround yourself with people who actually care. Toxic friends, nosy family, or anyone who drags you back into the drama. Cut them loose. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Therapy changed my life. There's zero shame in admitting you can't do it alone. Set boundaries and enforce them. Whether it's with an ex, family, or anyone else, protect your peace. Focus on yourself. Find small things that make you feel alive again. Run, write, cook, whatever. It all adds up. Forgiveness isn't mandatory. You don't owe anyone absolution, especially when they haven't earned it. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to live with your scars and knowing they made you stronger. To anyone reading this and feeling broken, know this: you can come back from betrayal. You can build mental muscles you didn't know you had. And yes, life does get better. It's not about the pain you've been through. It's about what you choose to do next. Stay strong. You've got this.